All right, I'm Justin, and this is Grant. We're back with our top four match of the Winnabox tournament. Thanks, Blonde on Fire. Glad to have you joining us. So for the top four match, we have Eric against Rob. Eric is again playing his EmoKids that we just saw on stream, and Rob is playing his eKylo Nines deck.
Interesting matchup. You got old Kylo versus new Kylo.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see which one comes out on top.
Who do you think you give the advantage to? New Kylo?
Yeah, new Kylo, simply for the reasons that we mentioned earlier, in that he's one more health than Kylo, and Anakin is going to be hurting himself.
I think Anakin 9s is kind of a wash. So then you're left with new Kylo versus old Kylo, and I would always take new Kylo. I think it's just that's how you end up looking at a lot of pairings. You know, what characters basically cancel each other out. So it's just a matter of who can get their number one character down faster.
So target priority is going to be pretty important in this matchup. Who do you go for if you're Eric?
Eric? If I'm sitting across from 9s,
oh, you got to go for
always
Kylo though.
Go for 9s, but
he's running a mono deck.
Oh, yep.
So Kylo's going to be doing 2 damage to him every single turn.
You're right.
If he doesn't take him out.
You're right, and I'm not sure if Eric has played against Rob's deck yet, this version. I didn't see him play a whole lot of upgrades. You know, I didn't see a whole lot of action cheating from 9s. I didn't see a whole lot of just overriding. So he may not be running a huge weapon suite for 9s. He may just be running a few in case he gets it off, and then depending on Kylo to just do the heavy hits and consistent damage. Player shuffling right here.
Well, we did see in that match earlier that he decided to put a crossguard saber on Kylo for that extra damage, and you and I both agreed that we think he should have played it on 9s actually, and gotten the double activation out of it.
I agree, because I mean, not only do you get more weapons to override, but you also get a second slot for a potential redeploy back onto Kylo. You know what I mean? How was he able to resolve the Mind Probe special after rolling it? Yeah, when you resolve the Holocron special, if you roll a second special, you get to resolve that special that is rolled from the Holocron. So he resolved the Holocron, rolled in the Mind Probe, got the special from Mind Probe, and then got to resolve it because it was the same symbol as Holocron. That's why we call it Living the Dream. Still shuffling. So who do you think, if you win, if you're Eric, do you take shields?
I mean, like we've been talking about all stream, the 4 hit point swing is huge in almost every single matchup. Eric definitely needs the shields for Vader to keep him alive longer.
True, but that's the thing about the EmoKids deck is that with the special symbols and the blanks, it's tough for you to win those roll-offs.
Rob is running the Moisture Farm, so I don't think Eric has Rise Again in his deck, but if he did, then it would be perfect to take the shields and take Rob's Battlefield, because I think with 4 speed, Eric is going to be much faster than Rob.
True. Well, I don't know.
Especially because he has less split damage. Rob has some more ranged weapons in his deck, so it's going to take him longer to resolve his dice.
That's true, but with all the manipulates and meditates that Eric plays, I think his deck plays a lot slower than your standard EmoKids version, you know what I mean? So they're actually going to be most likely playing at about the same speed.
That's true.
You know, just like we saw the Django 9s last round.
So Eric won, and he decided to take the throne room.
Eric not messing around, lays down the Force Illusion, just preemptively says, hey, I'm not trying to deal with any of that shit.
And Rob's like, okay, that's fine. I'll just play this Vibra Knife and cut right through it. Unless you roll a blank like that. He's going to override. I don't know about that. I think I might have tried to get the other Vibra Knife onto Kylo.
No, I think at that point I override. You know, I think you make the most out of his ability. See, he rolls the resource, gets an early lightsaber on the 9s.
Sure, but if you have the Vibra Knife down the entire game, his Force Illusions are worthless.
But he gets the special to go through the Force Illusion anyway. I mean, you talk about living the dream. Rob is doing it.
But now he's down to 2 cards in hand. I don't know how much he's going to be able to do with those.
He got a 3-cost upgrade on the board on the 9s, got 2 damage out of it without even an activation before Eric could even do anything, though.
That's true. So, Rob, of course, getting 2 damage. Eric's going ahead and taking it. And Rob, I actually kind of like this roll from eKylo with a resource and a disrupt. I might take Eric's last money and turn off any of his pay sides.
Yep, Eric opting to use the Force Illusion to go ahead and block that 2 damage from eKylo.
I mean, he could use it at any time, especially since he knows Rob doesn't have any vibro knives left. But I guess there's no harm in using it now and freeing up a upgrade slot in case he needs it.
I think I probably would have saved it for 3 damage, just because you know you're going to see one of those
So
eventually.
Eric playing overconfidence. I guess because Rob was showing the disrupt, so may as well spend his resource anyways.
I think he was hoping to get rid of...
maybe he didn't want Rob to get a resource also.
Yeah, I think that's what he was hoping for, was to get rid of the resource.
So rocket launcher coming down.
Because now he can play the rocket launcher, and actually use it. And there it is.
So 5 damage to Vader, and he hasn't even rolled out 9s.
Yep. And Vader had a Force Illusion, so I mean he's dealt 7 effective damage. And this plays back to where I think I would have saved that Force Illusion for that 3.
Yeah, definitely. Or a 4 if he rolled that.
Yeah.
Eric hasn't resolved any dice yet, though, so we'll see what he can come up with. He hits a Vader special.
Yeah, if he can come away with 5 or 6 damage on the board, I think you call this whole round even.
Oh my gosh! And Rob is just—he's not even having to reroll.
Rolling like an
He hasn't rerolled a single time.
Rolling like a stud, dude. He rolled the 1 blank on the first vibro knife, and that's it.
I mean, I would if Rob played an Imperial War Machine right now, I'd probably flip the table.
You'd probably just sweep.
I've never done it before, but I probably would.
Yeah, I don't think Rob has any cards in hand though.
He does. He
I
had
see.
the 2 vibro knives, the lightsaber, the rocket launcher, and he has 1 more.
I see it on the
We
table
can't see.
now. It's just blending in with the mat. That rocket launcher just putting in work.
It's arguably the best weapon you can play on 9s to roll twice
Oh,
in a round.
if you have the resources for it, there's no doubt about it. Eric re-rolling here, see if he can get something without having
Although
to use that
the
focus.
ion disruptor rifle might rival it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
10 damage, man.
Eric
From
actually...
that?
Oh yeah, that would be nasty. Eric actually rolled worse than what he started out as. That's gotta feel bad.
Man, so 7 damage already on Vader, and that could be 10 between the Force Illusion and the shield he just took.
God. I'm telling you, man, 9s has gotta go.
Yeah, and he didn't even resolve any character dice for damage. It was purely weapons.
Yep. I mean, 9s carry. That's not what you want out of your 9s dice. You want those resources or those shields. Rolling the damage feels bad. Because look at the plays he's been able to set up from him. He got the rocket launcher, he got the lightsaber. 10 effective damage, round 1. Rob's got to be feeling pretty good, bumping his fists.
I mean, when I have games like that too, it's deceiving whenever you're testing a deck and you're rolling as well as Rob is, where you don't even have to reroll. You might think, "Oh man, this is the best deck ever,"
Right.
and then you take it to tournament and you go 2 and 3 or 1 and 4.
Yep. Hashtag Luke.
So,
I wonder what Eric's last card is. I mean, I think he's got to discard... I mean, he doesn't have to because he's got the focus. And Rob doesn't have any resources, so you could at least get 6 damage round 1 out of Vader. But if he does do the specials, he's going to put himself at 9 damage. And I think that's Eric's probably biggest problem right now, is that, yeah, he can deal damage, but he's just going to put himself in a deeper hole.
exactly. And Rob's going to be able to claim, as we see. So, taking the shields probably would have been the smarter bet for Eric.
Yeah.
I know that he can get a lot of value out of the battlefield, but as we talked about, the way that he's built his deck, it's very slow.
Yep. That's what I was saying earlier, that they were going to play at the same pace because nines with the constant overrides and just waiting and taking resources and those shenanigans that.
Also, Eric was very liberal with his control and damage mitigation options this round. Like he could have saved that overconfidence. I mean, Rob probably would have disrupted him, but I don't know. It was a tough call.
I don't think that he really needed the resource, though. I think I would have saved that overconfidence for something else.
So Rob claims Eric's deciding where to put this damage into.
I mean, he ended up getting the resource anyway, but if he doesn't get that resource, this whole round plays out completely different.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, he gets the 3 out of the Kylo special, though.
And he was supposed to select a target before.
Right.
Kylo's the old Kylo, his special, you need to select a target before they reveal a card, so gets 3 damage onto 9s and then another 6. So it's actually pretty even on both sides of the board.
It appears so, but Rob's going to be able to play that rocket launcher, resolve it, and then roll it a second time for a second round in a row.
If 9s isn't dead before that. He's
Rob
gonna
claimed.
he's gonna at least be able to roll the rocket launcher in once.
Right. But if he gets any damage out of it, that's a dead Vader.
That's true, and that's one of the issues or problems that the EmoKids deck has, is that it can't cheat in to kill a character.
Right.
Unless it's already rolled in one of its characters with a 4 speed.
Right.
So if you fall behind in tempo, it can be really difficult. And Eric got lucky there. Rob didn't roll any damage on that rocket launcher, but he didn't get lucky in the fact that he's not going to be able to kill 9s before.
But he could
and
kill him.
Rob rolling in Kylo and probably getting the kill on Vader here.
That's got to feel bad for Eric. Just barely missing that.
I mean, he
fatal.
might have a vibro knife in hand. Nope. Yeah, new Kylo he's going to do some strange things with the meta.
Oh, yeah.
These mono decks, I can't imagine that they're going to see play at all, because in a competitive scene, Kylo will just murder them.
Mm-hmm. Eric did draw into the vibro knife at least, so he could get another upgrade on the board onto Kylo to hopefully help him do something. I didn't see if he's got a force power in hand for that holocron, so he could be saving for that. I did see that he did have power of the force in his hand, like we talked about earlier for the upgrades.
But he's only got 2 blue upgrades now.
Right.
He wasn't able to.
And here comes the vibro knife. If you're Rob, do you discard for the reroll? I'm assuming you do. I absolutely would to get 2 uses out of that rocket launcher.
Well, he's only got 1 resource, so
I think you do, in hopes that you get the resources off of 9s, because he does have a resource side. Kylo special coming out. Oh, gets the 0.
that's brutal.
And now he knows he's got that Imperial War Machine for that rocket launcher. So
Or he can just play it right now on the 9s die.
I don't know. I think if I've got that Imperial War Machine, I'd go ahead and re-roll the rocket launcher and get the free damage and then get a second use.
If I was Rob, I don't know. I was thinking I might have not. Oh no, because did Anakin he didn't have lethal showing to kill 9s, right?
No, he did not.
So I might have been greedy and done the Kylo damage onto Kylo, and then claimed, flipped the rocket launcher to special, and dealt 2 to both to finish off Anakin. You think that would have been too greedy?
Yeah, I think that would have been too greedy. I think that, as we discussed earlier, when you get an opportunity to get a character off the board, you just go ahead and do it. You don't want to set yourself up for any kind of risky play, like any kind of shenanigans of, swiftness and use the force into a character death, right? I mean, he could swiftness into, use the force into the Vader special, wipe 9s off the board, and then you get, a 2-on-1 for Kylo.
So Eric pitching the reroll gets a Kylo special, which could be really good, although the one a second ago wasn't too great for him.
And that Imperial War Machine's still in his hand, so he could draw it again.
And Rob discards the best defense, so that must be the highest cost card in his hand. Is 1. Or he could be just baiting Eric into trying to reroll or focus Kylo into something besides the special.
Often when I try to bait someone with the roll, it's when I have more than one high cost upgrade in my hand, though. So I get rid of it. They think that's my highest card, and then they re-roll. I see several EmoKids players do that all the time. They're like, oh, well, that's out of his hand. Well, I'm probably not going to get anything better. Gets the second best defense. It looks like they're still not disclosing the target before the draw.
I mean, I'm sure he's still going for nines. So Imperial War Machine comes down, and all it's going to take is a Kylo activation on Rob's side.
Yep.
To finish him off.
Eric has got to be feeling just totally defeated. Looks like we're going to see a reset here. Hopefully Eric gets something out of his hand.
He can't do anything because Rob just activates Kylo.
Yeah.
And chooses blue.
Yep. I didn't see anything in his hand that was not blue. Yep. Looks like Eric just pulled a random card out of his hand and said, "Good game."
So Rob just showing us. I don't know why he was showing us those, but
not sure either.
Maybe because he wanted them sooner. But so they're gonna go ahead and shuffle up and go to game 2. So because Eric lost the match in a best of 3 format, the loser of the match gets to decide what battlefield to play on instead of doing the roll off that you would normally do.
You think Eric learns his lesson here and goes ahead and takes the shields?
Oh, definitely. And that's the big problem with taking his battlefield first, is that Rob's probably going to get the shields twice. Because if Rob does lose this match, he's probably not afraid to take Eric's battlefield.
Oh, absolutely not. Especially after last game.
He saw that Eric could not be fast enough to claim.
Yeah.
Even with cycling weapons on 9s.
Yep.
Eric's playstyle was so slow. His dice have a lot of different sides between specials, melee, focus, and resources and shields. It takes him a long time to go through his turns.
Mm-hmm. I was glad that we got to see there, as we were talking about earlier, we said that taking shields wins and loses games. And right there, if Eric had taken the shields, he would have killed 9s before 9s had gotten to deal an extra 3 damage. And I think that swings the game in a completely different direction. So I was glad that we actually got to see that play out. Players setting up here. Rob put all his stuff up. Why did he put his characters away? Did he forget?
We're supposed to be going to game 2.
I'm not sure what he's doing with his cards.
I think he forgot that it's a best of 3.
No, they were talking about it earlier, that he definitely didn't forget. His cards are still out. There he goes. Finally getting his cards back out.
Sorry about that, guys.
Rob knows better than that.
Especially since he's the one that's usually in here helping out to commentate on these tournaments and organize the players and stuff.
Yeah.
So Eric lost, and he does select the shields for Vader, so we'll see if that plays a difference. If you're Eric, do you switch up your target priority and go for Kylo?
No.
No, still go for 9s?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though Kylo's just going to be like 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage all game?
Yeah, I mean, you saw nines deal 9 damage in 1 round. I mean, I think you for sure keep nines your target and get them off the board as fast as possible. If Rob rolls like that, though, I don't think it really matters.
I think if I'm Eric, I might hard mulligan for an Abandon All Hope.
Yeah,
He can do way more damage with his character dice than Rob can do with his. Well, I mean, actually it's pretty similar, but
that's one thing that players really need to take into account in their matchups is how their hard mulligans change. You know, you're not always going to be looking for the same thing. It's always going to be matchup dependent. You know, as Justin just said, an Abandon All Hope here would be devastating against the nines.
it's a play that I really, really like in Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
It takes away so many control options that your opponent might have, and lets you get the bonus damage from Palpatine's dice.
Yeah.
And it also gives you another turn to set up if I haven't found a force speed yet, which is, I think Palpatine is the best character you can put a force speed on.
Really?
Yeah.
The best character to put a force speed on. You
Yeah,
think so?
I think so. Because force speed, use the force on Palpatine die is 5 damage.
Yeah, that's true.
ridiculous.
But I mean, you could also swiftness and to use the force.
You can also force speed into use the force into 2 discard plus 2 damage,
Yeah, true.
or shields plus 2 damage. Anything.
Yeah.
Being able to resolve Palpatine's dice is what wins you the game.
Yeah.
So again, we see Rob dropping the crossguard saber onto Kylo. I again do not think that you need to be getting that extra damage. I think you're gonna get that extra damage if you played on nines anyways, and you're gonna be ramping him up.
I agree. I think if you're playing upgrades and with the nines on your board, you absolutely should be putting it on him. Because all you're doing is slowing your own deck down at that point, right? When you're not applying the ramp.
Exactly. Especially because nines has so much health. If you're worried about nines dying with a non-redeploy upgrade on him,
Oh yeah.
you don't need to be worried about that turn 1. Even though Eric can do a lot of damage with his character dice, he would have to roll all specials and get god draws with Kylo.
Yeah, that's true.
So did Rob miss with his Kylo activation?
No, he's got.
Oh, because
He's got a damage.
he dealt the 1 damage from playing the cross saber, and then he got the 2.
Yep.
Because Anakin had 2 shields.
It's got double disrupt on it. Not gonna. Oh, he does have 2 resources still. It looks like Eric's probably contemplating that. And he does have force powers in hand finally for a round 1.
So, if you're Rob, do you disrupt Eric here, since you just saw him take a long time to think about what he was going to do?
Oh yeah, especially with a holocron on the board.
Well, and Kylo just rolled a 2-for-1 melee,
Yeah.
so if you disrupt him, you take that play away.
More often than not, that 2-for-1 melee is gonna get re-rolled. So I think he's much more worried about the holocron.
Eric's playing the second holocron down on Anakin. You already know Anakin's the target. Why not play that on Kylo and get him built up?
I think that he should have put both on Kylo beforehand. That way he gives him twice the amount.
Maybe he thought playing a holocron on Kylo would force, or would trick Rob into switching targets.
Maybe. I think he might just be looking to ramp up Vader to make him deal more damage.
Sir Doomington is asking, what's the gambling odds on JVG? Well, since we're not playing... Oh, he says we're the commentators. Yep. That's us.
Oh, yeah.
So, the gambling odds? I don't know. I definitely give the edge to Rob.
Yeah.
But...
I'd probably put Rob at, like, minus 200.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but...
Just because, I mean, nines. Like, nines and new Kylo are just so good. And I don't know, maybe I'm just too down on old Kylo. What do you think?
Well, I'm down on old Vader as well.
Are you?
Why would you play... Or, not old Vader, but baby Vader. Spirit of Rebellion Vader. Why would you play him when you can play Kylo? And not do damage to yourself.
True.
And have 1 more health.
Yeah. That is true. But I mean, Eric's deck would have to completely change because you can't have both Kylos.
Oh, true. For sure. I mean, he might just switch over and play Rob's deck.
Yeah.
You know? So, Eric discarded a reroll. He got the Mind Probe. He was able to get a Mind Probe out. And
Finally,
it is not doing anything for him.
Can't leave the dream this match.
He does roll a 4 damage on Vader, which is pretty good. And Rob's 9s doesn't have an upgrade on him yet.
Yeah, but Eric hasn't done any damage. And Rob still managed to get rid of the shields and put an additional 4 on the Vader.
So Eric does switch tactics from last match and decides to go after Kylo.
Well, there's no upgrades on 9, so you're not really afraid of him right now.
Right, exactly. But that's about to change pretty soon.
Yeah. I do see that Z6 in Rob's hands, so...
So, and here's where playing the crossguard saber on Kylo is kind of counterintuitive because Rob has the right baton in his hand, which you really want to play on 9s, but you also don't want to lose the value from the resources you put into that crossguard saber onto Kylo.
Right.
So he might want to override the crossguard saber with his other right baton. Oh, never mind. He has another rocket launcher in hand.
Yep. But he's still got to get a resource for that, whereas before he would have the resource for it.
Yeah, he would have 2 extra resources to do whatever with.
Yep.
If he had played the crossguard on 9s.
So he'd get the right baton and then 2 rocket launcher activations.
So Eric's got a Force Illusion out, which is going to be very helpful.
I think Eric has just admitted that he's always going to be taking 2 damage.
Right.
And I'm not sure aware of
and
the card.
We'll see if Eric is able to win this match if Rob takes the shields or not. After what he's seen.
Yeah. I'm not aware of any card in Eric's deck that is not blue, in fact.
Fiber Knife.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Doubt. So Eric has 4 upgrades out, so that could lead to a pretty impactful Power of the Force. I can't tell how many resources he has if they're off screen. Rob rolls in 9s, re-rolls the baton, and gets 3 damage.
And he does have the resource for it. I don't know if I...
Man, Rob is just rolling so well.
Yeah, he is. His baton is cooperating with him this time around.
Like, Eric's been rolling... Sometimes he's been rolling a lot of damage, but sometimes it's been pay sides.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't been able to roll the resource to resolve with that. And that's one of the downsides of Baby Vader is he doesn't have a resource side. Yeah. Which is another reason I like Kylo better.
Yeah, that's true. He definitely pairs better than the SOR version.
And also the disrupt on the new Kylo's die, I think it's better than the discard on the Baby Vader.
Oh yeah, I would rather have a resource destroyer than a discard.
You would rather?
Yeah, I think I would rather the resource disruption than a discard.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just because the resources can be used for, it'll keep them from playing those cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also keeps them from paying for pay sides on dice.
Yeah. And I did see the Power of the Force in Eric's hand, so he can still play the Holocron and then get 3 damage out of that ranged.
Because I would turn that 1 into 5.
Yeah. So
Rob taking his money.
I don't think he has the resources for the 3 and the Power of the Force.
Eric used the Makashi Training's ability to remove the right baton, I believe. And so he should actually have the Makashi Training upgrade card exhausted right now, just to show that he's already done that.
Right.
So Eric's spending the disrupt on the Mind Probe, which means that he's probably not going to be able to resolve the rocket launcher die this round.
I wish I knew how many resources Eric had. I want to know if he's got the resource for that Power of the Force side or not.
Well, he spent 1 resource to roll the Makashi Training in.
Right.
So he has at least 1.
I'm surprised he hasn't played that second holocron again.
So he gets another resource out of eKylo.
But he rolls that second blank again on rocket launcher.
And Eric's sitting on a deflect, it looks like.
Maybe that's what he's waiting for. Maybe he's just waiting to get free damage out of his own dice. You know, I mean, removing a dice and using that dice to deal damage to that character.
So Eric's
really
keeping
strong.
the blank on the holocron, which signals to me that he's got a meditate in his hand.
What's Rob
So
gonna do?
Rob's fixing to probably discard and re-roll the rocket launcher again.
Can't see what's in his hand. Do you know what's left?
He chooses to best defense and removes... Interesting, he removes the eKylo special. And Evader special, so...
Huh. He must have something big in his hand. I mean, why else would you remove the eKylo special instead of the 3?
Right, I don't... Especially since he's probably going to discard whatever's left in his hand to re-roll that rocket launcher. Why not remove the other Vader dice?
And he meditates to the resource. So he must be out of resources.
So, and Rob does discard his last card.
That's got to feel bad. He finally gets the damage. Rob showing 5 more damage on the board. Goodbye. Oh, he's got the Force Illusion. I actually forgot that was underneath that Makashi.
So this actually could be close if... I don't know. Rob still has such a huge edge, it feels like.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just because of the characters. I mean, you're standing across at a 9 with a rocket launcher.
Eric switches targets.
Interesting choice.
Oh, no. Rob played best defense.
Right.
Yeah, so he's still going for eKylo.
Okay. Eric just sitting on that deflect, wishing he could have used it. That's one thing that deck is a hindrance with is its resources. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Eric doesn't play that Rise Again in there, just because oftentimes he'll never get to play it. So then you've just got 2 dead cards in your deck.
And the big reason for that is that Anakin doesn't have a resource side on his die.
Right.
And you would think that Holocron would help you to bank resources, but not really in this deck.
No. I mean, most of the time you want that Holocron's focus to give you more damage anyway, not to turn it to a resource. Why did he just... Oh, did it get deflected?
So yeah, Rob rolled out, hit the 3 damage on the rocket launcher, and got it thrown back in his face. So he is going to get 2 more damage out of his eKylo activation. But this is going to be pretty close, and eKylo, it seems like Eric's actually pulling ahead.
Yeah.
He has eKylo already with a Mind Probe.
I like Eric's board state much better at this point in the game. You know, if Rob had rolled out anything better than what he did, than the 2 blanks and a shield, I think we'd be looking at a different story. And Eric just laying down the Feel Your Anger. Says, get it out of here.
That's a card that I don't see played much at, the top tables of tournaments, but I play it as a one-of in almost all my blue villain decks.
Same.
At least a one-of.
I think its blowout potential is just too huge to not include it.
Right. Especially when comboed with the things Eric has in his deck already with, like, Force Speed and Manipulate.
Oh, yeah.
So, Rob discarding a reroll. Gets 4 damage in total.
So it is enough to finish off Vader. We may just see 2 character deaths this round.
We'll see. eKylo comes in, and we'll see what he gets. A 2-for-1, a focus, a blank, and a resource. That Mind Probe has not been doing all much this game. So Rob finishing off Baby Vader.
That's got to be
So
bad
Rob
for
still
Eric.
has 4 cards in his hand. I would probably just go ahead and focus to the Mind Probe special and kill eKylo.
Yeah.
Because even if Rob discards now, he can still finish off Kylo.
I don't know why you would. I mean, I think you just take the damage from nines right now that you've got showing. I mean, Kylo's gonna go die either way.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wasted damage.
Yep.
So there's not much point. He does have an isolation, so he could, which wouldn't be a bad play. Oh, so he's gonna ambush into.
It's 1 damage out of his holdout blaster at least.
And he doesn't have any resources left to play anything else, so.
So it's gonna be a 3-on-3. You know, they both have 11 total. They've got 3 of damage on both their characters. We're going to see a fairly even match.
I really hope Eric can come back and win this one.
Yeah, I'd like to see a 1-1 split. He overrides the rocket launcher with the Phasma Blaster.
So, the Phasma Blaster isn't bad, but... And he gets a +3 out of it.
Wow. Rob getting greedy, and it's paying dividends.
Well, and it's going to keep Kylo alive.
Yeah. Yeah, because he gets 2 cards out of his hand instead of just the 1.
Or it's at least going to force Eric to spend more dice to kill him.
Mm-hmm. Smart plays coming out from Rob. Just goes to show you don't have to start with a Z6 in your character to win, Rob. Eric's got to be feeling frustrated.
Right. Exactly. Especially, man, if Rob rolls the special right here.
No way. There's no way he gets that twice.
Why is he even thinking about it?
I don't know why you would replace the blaster when it synergizes so well with the holdout.
Okay, he's not. He's just climbing and getting resource.
Eric finally drawing into his 4 speeds. When you don't draw your 4 speeds as a mono blue player, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, even playing with the Vader Sith Lord and new Phasma deck, I was frustrated when I didn't draw my 4 speeds.
Yeah.
Because pretty much everything in your deck combos with them.
It makes every blue deck just run smoother. Kylo gonna finish off Kylo.
How meta is that?
You're gonna see both players go ahead and reset. I think the advantage is still on Rob's side.
Unless Eric hits a Mind Probe special and a Holocron special and gets something else out. He needs a Force Throw realistically, I think.
Yeah.
With the high values that Rob has on that Phasma Blaster. So Rob didn't draw particularly well at all. He doesn't, because he has several dead cards in his hand.
Yeah.
It looked like he didn't discard the isolation at the end of last round.
Nope.
Which he can't play.
That's just a mistake that you just sometimes forget about, you know? I mean, you always view it as a useful card, and you just don't think about its situational use.
Eric dropping down the overconfidence.
I think you leave the plus. I mean, it's not a base damage side. I just think you leave it.
So he's leaving the Phasma's Blaster, which I can agree with. So now do you remove 9s or the holdout? They're both 50% damage, but the holdout has a chance to roll. Has a 33% chance to roll 2 damage.
They both had resource, so at that point I don't think it really particularly mattered, because he wants those resources.
Well, he's already got 3, so.
Right, but Eric doesn't know that. I mean, Eric doesn't know that he doesn't have any upgrades.
I'm not sure why Rob didn't want to play the lightsaber at the beginning of this round.
I was confused by that as well.
I would play it over the top of the holdout, because that lightsaber provides a lot more value than a holdout blaster does. And he already got the ambush out of the holdout, so.
I think I would have just played the lightsaber flat out, get 3 upgrades on him, and keep the ball rolling. He does get the Holocron special on Eric's side,
but blank on the Mind Probe, blank on Force Speed.
You got Meditate.
So do you meditate into Mind Probe special? I guess
I probably would, depending on what I've got in hand. It doesn't feel.
If Rob re-rolls here, into high value on that Phasma's Blaster, I hope we see a Force Throw come down and take it out like we did last game where he was able to resolve the Mind Pro special.
Right.
So like I said, he saw an Anger in Eric's hand, so that
that
could come up big, but Rob decided to resolve the 1 damage.
Eric dropping the Force Illusion off the Holocron.
Not a bad play.
He needs it. I mean, I don't think he can go without it.
So now he's deciding to roll in the lightsaber.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I mean, you had the resources for it at the beginning of the round. I think it would have been better to pay for it.
And also, Captain Phasma's Blaster is better than that Holdout Blaster, so
yeah.
Why would you? He has 4 resources. He could have flat out paid for it or dropped it on top of the Holdout.
Yeah. Yeah,
he may just be getting lazy.
Yeah, he probably
plays.
He probably thinks the game is in hand, and is just thinking it doesn't really matter what he does, but that's not really the case. I mean, it's still fairly even. And you're looking at 7 on 6.
So Eric should probably. Oh man.
Oh.
And Rob gets the God roll into 4 damage. And
Eric doesn't realize it's game.
Well, he has the Force Illusion.
Oh, that's right.
But that's a lot of cards gone from his deck.
Yep. It looks like he's still fairly.
So
he can't
Rob,
play that.
Rob cannot play the Isolation.
Oh, they don't realize it. Oh. I have to have a talk with them afterwards. It's my turn to give Rob some crap for playing a card he can't play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it changes the outcome, but you know,
resources are always good. I mean, we had the discussion earlier that 1 resource is an effective 2 damage. So
you're saying he should have kept the resource for the reroll with Anger?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but is Anger, doesn't it make you resolve the dice if it was your own? So if it has a pay side, do you have to pay for it?
Mm-hmm. That is exactly what it does.
I'm not sure. We'll look it up real quick. So Anger, yeah, it does. It resolves an opponent's die showing damage as if it was your die. So I don't think Eric had a resource. So if he played the Anger on the 9's die, they're showing a 2 for 1 melee. I don't think he could have resolved it.
Eric just rolled Fatal. He got the 3. He got the 1 in 6 on the Mind Probe. And I believe Rob had a deflect, but he couldn't play it.
And he would have to control multiple dice.
That's
it. That's game. Oh
wow.
My goodness.
So many swings.
Yeah. This is turning into a really exciting best of 3.
Man, I was pumped to see that. But now Rob's going to get shields.
We'll see what he decides to do. I mean, we've learned today that, you know, shields win games. A 4-point hell swing is a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, we saw the difference right there it made. You know, it allowed Vader to stay alive a little bit longer and put EKylo within fatal range for younger EKylo. Where's Taxer at? Tell us how important shields are again. This is turning out to be a really good best of 3.
So, I think if you're Eric, you kill EKylo again.
That's such a difficult choice.
I mean, it worked out for him there.
Yeah, but think about it, though. Rob didn't lay a weapon down early on 9s. And if he had played the crossguard early on 9s, then he would have allowed for the ramp-up time much sooner.
That's true. And, that's probably just Rob's inexperience with the deck. I mean, I don't think he's played much 9s at all.
I think he's doing something that a lot of players will do by mistake, and just seeing that extra 1 damage you get out of the crossguard, I think he's valuing it too highly.
I think so too, because he's going to get that out of 9's ability anyways.
And more some.
Exactly. He could roll the special and deal 2 or 3.
Yeah. and then he gets to roll it again, or he replaces it with a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I still like the crossguard saber. It's a good 2-drop for 9s.
I think it's a good 2-drop blue weapon. Period. I don't think it has to go in a 9s deck for it to be useful.
Or a eKylo deck.
Yeah, no. I mean, I could see you dropping it in, any SOR Vader deck, really. Or even Daddy Vader, it wouldn't be terrible on, just to give him an extra 2-cost weapon with base damage on it. It wouldn't be terrible.
I could see it in a Baby Vader deck. But I don't know about Daddy Vader. I think Praetorian Guard takes up the slot in that if you're running red.
Yeah.
Like the new Phasma.
Yeah. What else do you think that you should hard mulligan for if you're Eric? Isolations, maybe? No, because you're not worried about character dice.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to handle Rob's deck. It's
Feel your anger?
abandon all hope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you got to abandon all hope, and then
Just try to slow them down. Try to slow Rob down, and as much as you can. Obviously, Holocron. You need Holocron.
oh yeah.
Um,
But I don't know if you do with Eric's deck because you're not running a huge Holocron suite. You're only running 4 targets.
is Mind Probe the only thing he has in there?
Mind Probe and Force Throw. So at that point, I'm not even sure it's even worth it for Holocron.
Yeah. And several weeks ago, I actually got the chance to play Eric's deck, and that was one of the first things I noticed. And like we've seen in these 2 past games, Eric's main strategy to spam low-cost blue upgrades and then use Power of the Force to turn like 1 damage into 5, it has not worked out that way.
No.
I don't think he's even played a Power of the Force.
He has not.
Maybe he's taken it out of his deck since then, but his deck doesn't appear to have changed much aside from the Vibro Knives.
He definitely had it. I saw it in his hand, but he just never had the resource to pay for it.
And that's been the big problem is, and you'd think he would. He probably has Enrage in his deck. But Rob having the logistics and Enrage probably and Imperial War Machine has been able to help him keep ramping faster.
And Rob getting exactly what he
Anakin
wants.
just not having a resource side on his die.
True. I think that's one of the bigger problems with EmoKids, as you said earlier. I absolutely agree with that. And Rob getting exactly what he wants. He gets the force, or he gets a 2-cost weapon. He gets the resource off a roll, so now he can ramp up into that riot baton he's got. I mean, he doesn't even care that holdout isn't going to do anything. He cares about what he can do later.
So, Rob decided to give up the shields and stay away from the throne room. I think you saw what happened in that first game where he claimed every single round.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure what went into Rob's decision there. We'll have to ask him after the fact. But
And his riot baton coming up big this time.
yep. Look at him cheering it on. Says, yes, that's exactly what you should be doing. You didn't have to re-roll it or anything.
And Eric choosing not to Force Illusion.
Rob's done 6 damage already. Still FN to roll out.
And gets another 5.
Oh,
He doesn't have a resource though, but he could have Imperial War Machine.
yeah, he could still deal 3. I don't see anything in Rob's hand. I mean, he's got the Feel Your Anger, but nothing to use it on. And I can see the Power of the Force in his hand right there in the middle card. Yep.
But I mean, that's only gonna be a 2 right now.
No, I'm just saying that. I was saying that you can for sure tell he didn't take it out.
Yeah.
Let's see what he gets.
Blank. Holocron special. Does he have anything?
Force Throw, I believe.
So, hitting. And Eric's using the Force Illusion, so he should take 1. Vader already nearly half health.
And he had shields. I think you got to see that Force Throw come out now.
hopefully he can chain the specials again and throw that 9s die off the board.
Not just into the character, but just straight up off the board.
Rob's deciding if he wants to reroll or not.
Eric is not rolling well. As well as Rob is rolling, Eric is not.
And Rob, again, getting something useful out of a 9s die. I mean, it is all black sides, so...
Yeah. I mean, there's only 2 sides on there you don't want. You know, the 2 for 1 and the blank. Everything else is good.
So Eric is going to be able to do 6 damage. So he'll be close to on par, but Rob's already got the Riot Baton and on 9. So do you just swing for eKylo? Because if you go for 9s, Kylo's just gonna get a baton on him.
I think you still go for 9s. I think you need to get 9s off the board. I think you need to get rid of the action cheating. Because right now, with that resource on the board, and that's what I was just about to comment on, I think Eric needed to claim there. Because now you could see 2 rocket launcher activations and still have resources for controller or more play.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah, if you kill 9s,
you could see,
or if you go after 9s, you make Rob question whether he wants to override that
right
Z6 with a rocket launcher.
And Rob draws his second Z6, so he can just play it on 9s, and he doesn't have to worry about a rocket launcher.
So Eric
out.
does get abandon all hope, but just the fact that Rob's already ramped into his 3-cost weapon on 9s, it's not going to do that much.
What do you think of Rob's decision to not play the Z6 there? He could have had 2 on FN.
To not just flat out play it?
Yeah, he had the resources.
I mean, he does have a lot of pay sides on his dice. I don't know.
He also has a lot of resource sides. I mean, both his characters have resource sides.
He's been very conservative holding back his resources, and he hasn't needed to.
Yeah.
Like the last game when he could have just flat out played the
lightsaber.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
I actually played in the Artificery tournament yesterday on Tabletop Simulator, and I was playing 3 hired guns with Snap Wexley. They increased the hero point limit total to 33, and I wish I had put more expensive stuff in my deck, because in the feature match I was on, I had a bajillion resources. There was actually one point in the game where I already felt like I was gonna lose at one point, and I had my second long con, and I decided to go ahead and play it just to see how many resources I could get, and I had finished the game with like 20 resources. I think it was absurd. So,
and what's crazy
spend your resources, kids.
And what's crazy is that deck runs a lot of high cost upgrades.
Well, yeah, but when you're rolling as bad as I was, you're having to discard them to try and get some damage out just to keep pace with your opponent.
True. Man, SOR Vader almost down already.
So, Kylo activates in, gets Baby Vader down to 10 health left.
So Eric can't use his special. Well, he could, I suppose, but...
And I think Robert got confused. He thought it was his turn for a second. But it looks like Eric's just thinking what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think you just roll out Kylo and see what you get.
I think you put the 3 damage onto... I don't know.
Maybe so.
Hidden in Shadow?
I don't know about that one, Eric. It seems way too slow at this stage of the game.
I mean, all Rob has to do is override the Z6 and probably kill Anakin.
Yep. See,
You got to take the 3 damage. Yep.
Wow, he gets the 1.
All he needed was 1. I don't think Eric realizes that he's dead.
Yeah.
And he just wasted a resource on the Hidden in Shadow.
Yep. Eric probably didn't think he could do it. But with FN on the board, I mean, you always have to be worried about that action cheating dice. I mean, if something comes in just out of nowhere, just like we saw. And I mean, that's not a dice you want to override. I'd probably keep the Z6 and, you know, maybe save to pay for the blaster later. But because you wanted to get Vader off the board, he went ahead and overrid it.
And it could have been... he could have had the other Kylo at 8 damage on the other side of the board.
Yeah. Oh, gets the 4.
This is just so disappointing to watch. Nines, he is going to continue to be a monster.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Oh, yeah. You think we're going to see an errata or not? I know we've talked about it in the past, but...
I hope so. I hated Nines from day one. Day one, one of our players, Matt Mendoza, started playing Vader Trader, which is the emo Vader with Nines. And I kept telling him, Nines is busted, Nines is busted, Nines is busted. Like, he's more busted than Ray. And I don't know. I don't know if he just didn't care, but he kept playing it, and you know, kudos to him. You know, if you're gonna play competitively, you know, play the best deck and have fun with it. And
when I realized how broken Nines was fairly early into into Spirit of Rebellion, and I was playing a good friend of mine, and normally after you claim the battlefield, nothing you can't do anything afterwards. Doesn't matter what weapons you play, what dice you roll in, you cannot resolve them. However, because of FN saying you may resolve immediately, it doesn't have to deal with any actions. So my friend played. We were using the battlefield that lets you reduce the cost of a weapon. He played a weapon and was still able to resolve it and killed a character off after he had claimed the battlefield. And I was like, that character is super broken.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool battlefield to use with Nines.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue with it is the best deck was the Rainbow Nines, and it never claims.
Right.
But Rob just flipping over Kylo or Vader to show that he's been defeated.
Getting a little sassy there.
I know. Way to rub it in, Rob.
Yeah,
Come on,
seriously. Man. Give the man his dignity back.
How do you think that? Do you think there's anything that Eric could have possibly done differently in this game?
I think he made a couple mistakes, but I don't think either of those mistakes in particularly cost him the match. I just think that...
Yeah, and if he would have resolved the Vader special last round...
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a dead Kylo right here.
Right.
Off that deflect,
yeah.
I think.
And again, I think Nines should have been first. I mean, I think Nines needed to die. You know?
Or it would have been close to a dead Kylo. I think he would have had 1 health left. But.
Right. I mean, you at least force Rob to change his game plan. Rob is, in fact, rolling dirty, blonde on fire.
Yeah, I don't think he's rolled a blank on his rocket launcher this game at all.
Nope.
Last game his rocket launcher wasn't doing so hot, but... And he was also a lot lower on resources last game. Maybe that's...
Yeah.
Was it the last game or the first game? I can't remember. There was one game where at least where he had several pay sides he can resolve, and maybe that's why he's been so conservative going forward, keeping them in the bank.
That was the first game, because remember the last game we were talking about how he didn't play the lightsaber because he had the resources for it.
Yeah, and maybe that's why in these other 2 games that he's tried to keep a bank of 3 or more in case he rolls multiple pay sides.
Maybe so. Rob going through his discard, probably seeing how many upgrades he's got left. Shouldn't be many. I mean, he's gone through both rocket launchers, both Z6s, one of Phasma's blasters.
We haven't seen a Vibro Knife yet, I don't think.
No, we have not seen a Vibro Knife. But you don't want to override a 3 for a 2.
No, but he's got 3 resources sitting out. And sometimes overriding a 3 for a 2 can be good if Nines is getting low on health and he needs to ambush kill a character. You can override with the holdout blaster into a Vibro Knife into.
True. Just continue the ambush.
But yeah, you're right. It's not great for the Vibro Knife because it doesn't have any pay sides. But let's say you only have like 2 resources, you can't play the holdout blaster outright and then pay for that 2 damage if you get it.
Right.
Eric trying to get something out of his force throw.
Instead gets the blank.
And his Kylo's special, adding insult to injury. You know, getting that logistics.
Yeah.
Just dealing the one. He's probably ready to pack up and go home.
Oh, yeah. Rob's just getting resources for days. If Rob's able to get this damage off, it's essentially over at the start of next round, because all he has to do is activate Kylo.
So, Holocron special, bringing in a Mind Probe.
Hoping to finish off Kylo, maybe.
Well, he has to.
Digging for dice. No, yeah, he's at 10, Rob, not 9.
And that Mind Probe die, did he not have the resource to roll it out?
He must not have. Now he's going to claim, and now that's essentially game over. Because, I mean, even Rob's Kylo still has his Force Illusion. So even if you got the special on Mind Probe, you weren't going to kill him.
Why is he in... Oh, this is the end of the round, Eric claimed. I thought it was the next round. Oh, and he just plays the Crossguard Saber to end it.
Yep. Deals 1 damage. Yep. Rob explaining it. Well, that third match wasn't nearly as exciting as the second one, but...
Yeah, not at all. And it came close to... Oh, no, there's still 30 minutes left. I thought it was 3. But... So...
2 matches
New Kylo. Not showing how he's stronger than 9s, but...
No.
Yeah, Rob was rolling very well through all 3 games, I felt like.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what 9s does. If you roll enough dice, the averages are going to be in your favor.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially when you're rolling dice as good as Z6s and rocket launchers.
Yep. And that's what I was just about to comment on. I mean, even when your early dice aren't rolling well, you know your later dice are going to be coming in swinging in hot.
Mm-hmm. And it just comes down to what we were talking about earlier. The more dice you roll, the more chances you have for them to be good.
Yeah.
Which is why Balatique's been such a staple in top competitive decks, is because his extra activation can get you so much value.
Yeah.
An extra resource, an extra shield, an extra focus goes a long way.
But that goes back to why I'm so confused as to Rob wasn't playing his resources. Just, play the weapons. Don't worry about just overriding. If you've got the resources for him, don't be scared to play him.
Yeah, and that may just come out of inexperience, since he hasn't played 9s a whole lot. And, I mean, the 2-player starter set just came out, so seeing that Crossguard Saber kind of makes you anxious. You're like, oh, I want to play this on Kylo and get that damage, but
yeah,
you can get more value out of it on 9s, I think. And that just comes down to inexperience playing the deck, and it's a lot easier for us to sit in here and question their plays. But I mean, I know in the tournament yesterday, the Heroic Effort tournament put on by Artificery, I went back and watched the commentary, and they made several good points about my play, and my play, it's a lot harder when you're actually sitting at the table, to think through all of your options, especially when we can see what the other player has in hand. So,
yeah.
Blown on Fire is asking if we think they'll errata 9s. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love his ability and love what you can do with him, I don't see how they don't do something to him. It's always a rocky road and a slippery slope to constantly errata things. But at this point, I think they've already proven how broken 9s is with how dominant he's been in large tournaments like Gen Con, Nova Open. I just don't see how they don't do something.
Well, I don't want to talk about 9s anymore.
Yeah, we've talked about them a lot.
Before our finals match gets started, we're gonna pick a. Is there any Empire War cards that you guys want to see us talk about?
Why don't you pick one? I picked one. I picked the last 3.
Well, let's see if anybody in the chat wants to have us talk about one first. If nobody says anything, then I'm gonna pick. Trying to pick one that a lot of people haven't talked about much.
Lando.
Well, we can talk about Lando, but I don't want to. Let's talk about this guy. This guy's pretty crazy. If nobody. So coercion. Trexter wants us to hear us talk about coercion. All right, so this one's been mentioned a little bit recently. It is yellow villain event. 1 cost says spot a yellow character to reveal an opponent's hand and choose an event in it. They must play that event as their next action if able. Grant, this card is awesome.
It is extremely good.
It is so good. There are so many situational events in the game that if you can make your opponent play it suboptimally at the wrong time, it's a drain on their resources. It's a drain on their hand. It gives them 1 less card to reroll with potentially.
Yeah.
There's just so many cool stuff you can do with it, and just think about all the events in the game that you hate having played against you. If you could make your opponent, play that on themselves.
Right.
Like,
I struggle to think of a lot of targets though that's really going to hit that I would want to see gone, right? And used suboptimally. Like,
I mean, any removal card.
but if they have to play if it's able, right? So if there's no dice on the table,
Right, but you
play
can
it?
force them to remove their own dice.
That's true. Yeah, I guess you could force them to overconfidence whatever they've got on the board.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or electroshock anything on the board. I think the coercion play has got people more excited about this card than they should be.
Blown on Fire says price of failure, which would be extremely brutal. And with the new Phasma being paired up with Big Daddy Vader, you can coercion leadership before Vader's even activated.
Yeah.
Which could be really strong. And the place that coercion is going to be strongest is obviously with Thrawn.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll have full knowledge of their hand before you play it. So that'll tell you if they have an event that you possibly want to hit with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how much stronger Thrawn card can get. I mean, the set hasn't even come out yet. We haven't even seen all the cards, and we're already talking about it being one of the best decks they can build.
Right. But, I mean, you got to keep in mind, we saw eKylo FN, do tons and tons of damage. Like,
yeah.
Can Thrawn mill them out before they've done that much damage?
I don't even know if it's about milling them out. I just think it's about surviving. I mean, we just saw Rob kill a character by round 2 out of the 3 games they just played.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even think it's just about milling. I think it's more so about surviving for them to mill.
So, yeah, coercion. We both really like it. It'll remain to be seen, how useful it is in the new meta. I mean, it could heavily affect what people play in their decks.
I think the one thing that makes it so good is its cost. For 1 cost, that's stupid good. I don't know how they go into their cost decision making sometimes. I mean, I don't understand why Commanding Presence is 3 and then Rocket Launcher is the same cost 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing we've seen the power ramp increase so fast, but
yeah.
We still love the game. So anyways, guys, thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back for our finals match, which is going to be against Lincoln and Rob. It's going to be Nines Kylo against Phasma Django.
Yep.
So stick with us, and we'll be right back for that.